Hey everyone, welcome to our tutorial series. In this series, we'll walk you through creating a simple chatbot, enhancing it with some retrieval augmented generation, knowing it as drag, and finally adding an observability layer to monitor the bot's performance. We'll divide this tutorial into three parts. So first of all, we'll start by creating a basic chatbot to handle user interactions. Secondly, we'll add some RAG to that, enable the bot to search a PDF document, which will contain some frequently asked questions, which will allow it to respond to user queries more effectively. And then lastly, we'll set up a monitoring and observability layer to keep track of the bot's performance and ensure it's running smoothly. And that's about it. So let's dive in and get started. All right, let's dive into the coding part of this tutorial. First, we'll start by importing a few necessary packages. We will import the .env. This will basically be environment variables for OpenAI's key. And then what we'll do as well, we'll import OpenAI. And then also Chainlit, which is like a really nice GUI for testing our bot interactions. We'll initiate the OpenAI client. And what we'll do here is basically we'll initiate Chainlit's onChat start function, which basically calls this function, which we will send an initial message to Chainlit. Just a simple how can we help you, and then we send it like that. And then the main function, which will handle the incoming messages. And this will basically be called on every message, and we'll use OpenAI's ChatGPT to generate a response. So this is the main function here, and this will be the response. And basically we're just saying that we are helpful assistant and respond to a question that's given. And then what we'll do is we'll extract the reply, and we will send that to Chainlit. And that's pretty much it from a simple bot perspective, but let's see if this works. So we just call it like that, and simple.py. Cool, let's have a look. And here we have Chainlit running with a simple how can we help you. Let's just test if it's working. Cool, so we know that ChatGPT is working, and now let's ask it a question. What is the return policy? Cool, so what we see here is it doesn't know what the return policy is, which kind of brings us on to the next part of our tutorial, which will introduce RAG, and we will be using a PDF document that has a whole bunch of FAQs on. And hopefully once this is working, it will be able to respond with the correct return policy. Cool, let's get to the next part. So this is the next part of our tutorial where we'll be introducing RAG, and what we'll be doing is reading a PDF document, and then basically the chatbot will be able to answer questions based on this document. So I'm actually just going to put in a bunch of imports here. I'll just go through them as I add them. So basically this is from LangChain. This module just kind of keeps a history of all the chat messages, pretty straightforward. The next one here is something similar. And what this does is it also remembers previous interactions with the same session, and it improves the continuity and context awareness of the conversation. So we need this to kind of understand what it's been talking, like what the context is. The computational retrieval chain. What this is, this class is designed to manage the flow of conversation. It also incorporates like retrieval-based elements, such as researching for relevant information from a document or database, but we're going to be using it for a document. The next here is recursive character text splitter. So basically this module or class is essentially taking text and then splitting it into more small manageable pieces, so we'll be able to like be indexed a bit better with a vector store. We just import chat OpenAI, so we're going to be using this module now instead of the original one that we had. And we're also going to import the OpenAI embeddings, which we're going to use for the vector store. So basically, the next thing we're going to introduce here is FAISS, which is FAISS, which is Facebook's. It's basically a library which is efficient for like similarity search and clustering of dense vectors. So it's quite useful for quickly retrieving like relevant information from a large data set. So that's quite a nice library that they've offered. And then lastly, we're going to import the PY PDF loader just to kind of import the PDF. Cool. So what we'll do is import the PDF. So we're just going to set the path for where it's going to come from. I'll just add it into the docs folder. The next, what we're going to do is load the PDF through that with the PDF loader. We're just going to create the doc from that. The next here is basically we're going to do the text splitter. So what we're going to do is take the PDF and now chunk it into pieces. So we do this over here on the next line. And we're just going to create the embeddings. And then what we're going to do with this is we're going to create the vector store. So now what we do is we take the text that we've created with the chunks and then compare those to the embeddings from OpenAI. We're going to save that locally. And we're just going to keep it ready to go. Then the next show is we're going to just create the chat history. So we're going to use that library there. Cool. So what we want to do now is we're just going to move on to when the chat starts. And now what we want to do is we actually want to load all of this now. So how we do it is we create memory here. And this is basically using the buffer memory. And we're also going to include the chat histories. We're going to pass a couple of variables through. The next thing what we do here is we create a chain. So this is basically going to use the OpenAI with the loaded vectors, and this will enable it to search based on what's actually we've been imported through the PDF document. So this is kind of the main use case of this, creating a chain of information. And then what we're going to do is just kind of create the session and then send that chain onwards. And then I'm just going to comment out what we did the last time. And what we're going to do, we're just going to get the chain that we've created from the session. And what we're going to do here is just going to have a callback function that uses the chain. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a call with the message and then provide the callback that kind of adds to the chain. And then we're going to retrieve the answer from that. And what we're going to do is send it back to Chainlit. And that's kind of where we're at. And then let's have a look and to see how this works. PY. Cool. So now we have Chainlit running, and we have provided it with a PDF document with FAQs. So now what happens is if we ask it a question, it should go to the doc and see if there's anything that's relevant to the question answered, and then respond with the relevant answer. So let's ask it, what is the return policy? So we'll just ask the same question. And we can see it's looking at the document. And here's the answer. So it says we got 30 days to return. So that seems like it's all working. So that's great. But now the next part of this is how do we monitor this? How do we observe if the bot's been hallucinating? How do we know it's answering the right questions? So that basically brings us onto the third part of this tutorial, which is observability and monitoring. So this is the third and last part of this tutorial, and this is where we're going to be introducing LangWatch as an observability and monitoring tool. Very simple to add. We're just going to import it here, and then what we need to do is just add, just head over to our main message function, and we will add the trace here. To understand how to do this, we can go to the docs on LangWatch. There's a whole flow on how to do this, but this is just a quick, simple overview. And then what we also need to do is just add a callback here, just to complete the trace. And that is pretty much it. That's as simple as that. So let's have a look here. Run simple.py. now that we've added LangWatch as a monitoring tool, we're just going to ask it the same question. What is the return policy? See, it's getting it from the documents, and it says the return policy is 30 days. So that's what we want. But let's go have a look at LangWatch now and see what it actually, how it's presented there, and have a bit more of an in-depth dive into LangWatch, the tool. So this is LangWatch, the monitoring tool we use in our application. So what you can see here is the question we asked, the answer that was generated. The more you chat with the bot, all these messages will be added over here. And there's also a table view where you can have a look quite quickly into it, able to click on it and see a whole bunch of information, which is quite nice. And you can also kind of see what documents were used and where it retrieved this information from. And yeah, LangWatch is packed with features. And if you'd like to know a bit more, head over to langwatch.ai. Have a look what we can do, have a look at our docs to see how you can use it. And yeah, this kind of brings us to the end of our tutorial. So what we've covered is building a simple chatbot, then adding RAG to that to look into a PDF document, and then using a monitoring tool such as LangWatch. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, let us know if you got any questions. But yeah, find us on our website at langwatch.ai.